have any video or anything?
Develop me too.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Are you guys going to share a screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
oh no, Annalisa. Annalisa, you have to put your name on your Zoom.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
I have a few people. We'll give them a few minutes before I do my spiel. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. I was like so confused.
So were we. I was like,
I know. And I was thinking, I didn't go shopping with Kristen so I could facilitate. And I could be at the mall. And I purposely picked Moravian. Just so you know.
I was so excited when I saw that you were our facilitator.
Absolutely. All right, I have a script that I think, you want to wait a few minutes? Tell me what you want to do.
We can go whenever. Or is there kids already in here? Yes, I think there are.
Yeah, I have 6 participants here, and there's only 3 of us, so let me see. There's 2 attendees.
Okay, I think
so we have 2 people. Hello.
I saw on the dashboard that 8 registered, so we could give it a minute and then we can get started.
All right, I can do that. So for those of you that have already tuned in, just give us a minute and we'll get started. I almost ended the meeting by accident. My life. It's a good life.
Yeah, we had a bit of a panic and I'm like, I can't get in.
I know, it's like crazy. So that everyone knows, even those that are watching, after I do an introduction, then I will go, I'm turning off my video and my sound.
Okay.
And then I will come back in when it's about, because we need to end at 1:45.
Okay.
So I'll come in a few minutes before that and I'll give you this sign of.
Cut it. Yes.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
You bet. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and start since these people are there, and then the other people can just sign on. Okay?
Yep.
So first of all, I'd like to welcome the panelists for participating today from Moravian, one of my favorite colleges, just putting a plug in there. Let's see, wrong one, that's the script for you. Okay, welcome to the virtual college fair exploration for all Pennsylvania students, which is sponsored by the Pennsylvania Association for College Admissions Counseling and StriveScan. PACAC is a nonprofit association comprised of more than 1,200 school counselors, college admissions counselors, independent education consultants, and other professionals responsible for guiding students through the important transition from high school to post-secondary options. We want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on the screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at PACAC.org. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at that same website, PACAC.org, PACAC. I'd like to now turn it over to our presenters from Moravian College.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Thank you to all of the students participating today. Sorry that we had some technical difficulties in the beginning, but we are set to talk to you all about Moravian College. I want to introduce my colleague, Annalicia Anthony.
Hi, I'm Annalicia Anthony, Associate Director of Admission and Multicultural Recruitment at Moravian College.
So we'll quickly go over the recruitment areas that Annalicia and I both cover. We have lots of counselors that cover areas of Pennsylvania. So if you live in an area that we're not talking about, you do have a counselor. So don't be afraid to reach out to either of us. We'll put our contact information in the chat. I cover Bucks and Montgomery County, as well as a lot of Northampton County and parts of Lehigh County.
And then I have the opportunity to work with students in the Philadelphia, Delaware, and Chester counties. I also work with all of the boroughs of New York. And then I also have Passaic County, Camden County, Middlesex County, and Hudson County. I also have a couple of schools within the Lehigh Valley that I also work with.
So we are going to get started with our presentation for today. And like we said, there will be time for questions at the end. So if you were all on campus, we would be looking at this beautiful building. This is Comenius Hall. This is our signature building of Moravian College. And just a quick note on what we're doing right now in terms of COVID. Our students are living on campus right now with a lot of safety precautions put in place. We do have classes in person, online, as well as hybrid. We do have our sports that are not competing, but they are practicing. Our clubs and organizations are up and running. And we're just trying to keep life as normal as possible at Moravian. And I am very proud to say that currently we have 0 COVID cases on campus. So our campus is so excited about that, that today our president gave everybody a day off from classes because the weather until very recently was a gorgeous fall day. So we're staying healthy, we're staying safe, and we're really excited about that. In terms of what the admissions office is doing, we are offering in-person tours. We're also offering in-person interviews, but for those folks who aren't comfortable coming to campus, we are offering a plethora of virtual options, virtual tours led by our student tour guides, virtual interviews with our admissions counselors. We have a virtual open house coming up next weekend. And we also every Tuesday night have virtual panels for prospective students to participate in.
And just to add to that, Allison, I think when you're talking about us physically being on campus, it's really nice to see the way the school has adjusted to expanding and taking advantage of the beautiful acreage that we have on our campus. So you see the nice banquet tents, they light up at night, and it's nice where students have an opportunity to still be engaged, but also practice safe social and physical distancing, and not necessarily feeling stuck in their rooms or having to stay necessarily away from each other. So it's been nice to see, and I'm kind of hoping that we'll continue to have those tents even in years to come, because it is nice to see.
So a little bit about Moravian College. We are a liberal arts college, which means regardless of what you are studying at Moravian College, you're going to touch upon a lot of different subject areas. We want you to have a well-rounded education. We want you to be well educated on what the world's going to look like when you get out of Moravian. So it's not just the courses within your major, but it's a broad spectrum of courses. And I really think that this curriculum allows our students to find different things that they're passionate about. We'll get into majors and programs a little bit later, but I really think you're going to be exposed to things you haven't been exposed to before, and it really can set your academic career and your further career off in a different direction than you ever dreamed possible.
Yeah, and to touch on that as well is when we talk about the Moravian College mission and talking about preparing you for a reflective life and of course fulfilling careers and a transformative leadership in a world of change, which of course we will touch a little bit on. It's important to recognize, just as Allison said, not only are we preparing you to be great in the area that you're studying in, but also being mindful of what's going on, not only within your community, but in the community around you. And I think that at Moravian College, we do such an amazing job at making sure that our students have an awareness to the responsibility they have, not just within themselves, but around. And we see that through events that we have on campus, and different opportunities that are special and unique to the college.
We have specific programming around the things that you need to be thinking about as an adult, such as sustainability, social justice, war and peace, and healthcare. And as we all know, those are big topics right now, and that's the world that we're living in right now. So we want you to have an understanding of all of that. So when that you go on and leave Moravian College, you have a better sense of the world around you. But a little bit about our history. So we were founded in 1742. So that makes us the 6th oldest college in the country. So when the Moravians came to Bethlehem from Eastern Europe seeking religious freedom, they set up Bethlehem. And soon after they settled the area, they decided they wanted to have a well-educated society. And in order to do that, they wanted the children to be educated. And because the women were in the homes with the children while the men were out working the land, they decided we need to educate the women first because they can educate the children. So that was a pretty revolutionary idea in the 1700s. So not only did they educate the women, but soon thereafter, they educated the Native Americans in their own language. So while the other institutions at the time were forcing the Native Americans to learn English, the Moravians learned their language and taught them in their own language. So something that's pretty cool. I don't want you to think that we left the men out. Soon after the women's college was established, the men's college was established at the other end of town. And then in 1954, we became the first co-educational institution in the Lehigh Valley. So now those two campuses are one, and it's free-flowing of students back and forth. So like I said, we do have two campuses. So our Main Street campus was originally the men's campus, and that houses the bulk of our academic programs, the library, the student union building, residential facilities, as well as athletics and administration. And the Priscilla Payne Hurd campus, that is what we call South Campus, and that is our original buildings. That's what was originally the Women's College. Fun fact about that campus, George Washington used one of those buildings as a hospital during the Revolutionary War. So some people say that we are haunted, and we get put on some of those most haunted colleges lists. I've never experienced anything, but there are ghost tours that go through that part of campus, so it's pretty fun. We do have a shuttle that runs in between the two campuses, and I should mention that South Campus houses the art and the music department, as well as some other residential facilities and the president's house. Shuttles go in between the two campuses. We call it the Moravian Mile, but it's only 0.8 of a mile. It's a nice walk because you are going through our scenic downtown historic Bethlehem, but for the most part, our kids are either hopping on the shuttle or driving their cars, unless it's a beautiful day on the weekend and they're kind of bumming around downtown. So we are an hour and a half from New York City, and we're an hour north of Philadelphia. The Lehigh Valley, which is where we're located, is made up of Bethlehem in the center, and then Allentown to the left, and Easton to the east and Allentown to the west. That's just an easier way to say it. And within the Lehigh Valley, there are a lot of other colleges and institutions. So us, Lehigh, Lafayette, Cedar Crest, DeSales, and Muhlenberg are all in a very short radius from each other. So it does make for a very college town feel.
Yeah, and just like you said, with that, like being in the center of the Lehigh Valley, we are the 3rd largest growing metropolitan area in the state of Pennsylvania. So while we're not that metro city like New York City or Philadelphia, it's nice to be in an area that's growing. We're right, like Allison mentioned, in downtown, like the historic area of Bethlehem. So there's so much culture embedded where if you're coming from a school or coming from an area where there is more of a city life, you'll still be able to have some of that rich culture at Moravian, and have that feel. So I do think that our students are spoiled in the sense of being able to walk, like if you want, on a nice day and be in the midst of beautiful restaurants and coffee shops. And also, I know that Bethlehem hosts a lot of different festivals. So if there's not something going on at Moravian College or any of the other schools in the area, the city itself is always putting together events. I know at the end of the summer, there's a big summer or music fest where musicians come in from all around the country to perform. So it is nice that Bethlehem, we are located in a really nice area in the Lehigh Valley.
So this is showing just a little bit about what our campus looks like. So the building right in the center with the 2 red doors, that's our oldest building on campus. That's the Brethren's house. That is the building that is supposedly haunted and from the 1700s. And right next to that is our newest building. So we have really remained true to our roots, but everything is completely state of the art. We kind of want everything to kind of match and have that Moravian-esque feel. And I think that we've done such a good job of doing that. So we do hold true to our traditions and our roots, but our students are receiving a state of the art education with all of the tools and equipment that they need to be successful in today's educational field. And one little note is the giant iPad that you see right there, that is our virtual cadaver. So we do have a virtual cadaver lab. So for our students utilizing or into our health sciences programs, you get to use that. Our students love it. It's cool. And unlike a normal cadaver, if you make a mistake, you can just reset it and everything is good to go. So our students really do have the tools they need.
Getting that hands-on experience, that's getting them comfortable before you're actually, working in your field. And I think that's pretty neat. So if you want, I can jump in here, Allison, talk a little bit about our student body. So as students are navigating, as you're on this search for what type of school you're looking for, Moravian College is a small liberal arts school. So we have right around 1,900 undergraduate students. And I like to say that we're small by design. The fact that we have an average class size of 17 students and a student faculty ratio of 11:1, it really speaks to the type of atmosphere that you can expect to have here at our college. So what I mean by that is that Moravian College is a school that is very student focused. We want to make sure that you're getting the attention and the resources that you need to prepare you for what your life is going to be after you graduate, whether that's going to be going into the working field, whether that's graduate level work, whatever that is. We want to make sure that we have the ability, our faculty and our staff have the opportunity to connect with our students and build on their skills and make them prepared for what's to come after they graduate. So as far as the average class size, it's 17. You may have classes where you see a couple more than 17 in your class, but it's not unlikely for once you start getting into your major specific classes, that those can get into single digits. And again, it goes back to that individualized, student-centered focus that I believe the institution has and is committed to for each and every one of our students. On top of that, we offer 55, and there's a plus, academic majors and programs. So like Allison shared earlier, we're a liberal arts school. So you are going to have an opportunity to take a little bit of everything, a little bit of anything that you have a passion or desire in. So as far as our students, aside of nursing, our students aren't really declaring their major until the spring semester of their sophomore year. So what that does is, with us having 55 plus academic majors and programs, there might be a class you took in high school or an area that you might want to take a course in. And with this amount of different opportunities and experiences, it gives you an opportunity to really figure out what you want to do. And on top of that, something that I want to highlight on is the fact that Moravian College really supports students who are undecided. So what that means is, at 17, 18 years old, there's all this pressure to kind of say, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And for some students, you may know, and that's great. We're going to support you through that. But for students who are like, I don't exactly know what I want to do for the rest of my life, You can rest assured that our faculty and our staff, whether it's going to be through different disciplines and academic areas, or whether it's through our Office of Career and Civic Engagement, we will work with you to help you explore as many options that you need to make sure that you find what means the most to you and where you see yourself succeeding when it comes to graduating and picking a major. On top of that, I like to showcase that we have over 100 clubs and organizations at Moravian College. So I tell students or prospective students and their families, 1,900 undergraduate students, 100 clubs and organizations. That is a lot of involvement. And it goes to, again, that point where we want students to be involved outside of the classroom. We want students who are coming to Moravian and becoming leaders in their community. So if you're the type of student who's super involved and that is important and meaningful to you, whether you're working with our Moravians Activities Council to host events on campus, work on our Fall Fest, Spring Fest, that is great. If you are a student who says, you know, I don't know what I want to do when it comes to the social aspect in college, that's okay too. What we say more times than not, it's oftentimes that students come to Moravian and they will find an organization or a sorority or fraternity or some type of experience that really matches and meshes with who they are and who they're looking to evolve in through their 4 years. On top of that, we are also a NCAA Division III sports school. Last year I would have said 20, but this year I will say we are welcoming women's and men's swimming to our Division III sports teams. As of now, the statistics have showed we have about 40% of our students are student athletes. And what's even more interesting than that is that historically, our student athletes have maintained higher GPA than our general student body. And something to highlight in that is that Moravian College really takes serious that you're a student athlete. So student first, athlete second, but also making sure that you're able to be successful in both areas. So Allison, did you want to jump in on any of that?
Yeah, I do want to jump in on the sports stuff because I personally, I'm a Moravian grad and I didn't play a sport, but we have so much school spirit. So students come out and they support their fellow classmates. In a normal fall, those Saturday football games are packed with our band, our cheerleaders, our alumni, and you'll see, because our office is right on the way to the football field, you'll see students flocking down to the football game. So I think that you still get that big school athletics feel on a small, intimate level. We have, I think in our conference, probably the biggest home stands. So it's just something fun, and our students really do come out and support each other. And one thing to highlight is our turf field, which is smack in the middle of campus. Like, you don't walk out of the dorms without running into our turf field, John Mackovic Field. That is where, picture right there, that is where our men's and women's lacrosse, men's and women's soccer, as well as field hockey teams play. And they just added lights to that field. So when our sports are up and competing, like on a Saturday afternoon, there'll be one game and another game at night. So people will just camp out and watch the games and enjoy cheering on their classmates.
And just to add, just because sports, you know, it is a big part of I think our community, is if you are not someone who's ready to or wants to play, let's say, at that Division III sports level, we also have a lot of club sports and intramural sports that students are able to participate and engage in, that is not necessarily a part of the NCAA D3 sports teams.
I always say on this slide, this is just showcasing our early students. Well, not very early. So this is clearly 1950s-ish. And since we had students in the 1740s, this is not our original students. But this is just kind of showcasing, this is before the school became co-educational. So our women on our South Campus and probably one of our very first baseball teams up on North Campus. So students of yesteryear and students today. So throughout our entire existence, we have made sure that our students are having a good experience and they have the tools that they need to be successful, and they have the outside of the classroom activities that are going to keep them engaged throughout their 4 years.
Yeah, and when I look at this slide, Allison, when we talk about we make history and continue to today, I think about, unfortunately, like at the height of the pandemic, right? When we were forced to shut down, how quickly our students stepped in and decided to give back and help the community, right? So making history in the sense of like our nursing students were working together to pull resources and things for facilities that didn't have the supplies they need. Or if we saw like computer science majors working in the 3D labs, creating stethoscopes and different things of that nature. And even more so when you talked about how George Washington used our South Campus as a hospital during the Revolutionary War, and how we used some of our residential space in the midst of the pandemic to house, you know, some medical providers who needed just sleeping spaces because they were working so much. I think it just shows how you keep saying it, right? How we still stay so true to our roots, but we continue to do it and we are doing it well. So it is a way that it shows that what we do is historic, it has richness, and we continue that legacy in 2020.
And in 2020, what is very important is technology. So all of our students receive a MacBook Pro, an iPad, and an Apple Pen. When President Grigsby, who is our current president and also a Moravian College alum, when he came to Moravian to become our president, one of the first things he did was say, we are giving all of our students technology. We attract students from a variety of socioeconomic backgrounds, so he wanted to make sure that everyone had what they needed in the classroom to be successful, regardless of what means they had at home. So our whole campus is completely wireless. All of our students receive this technology. We are an Apple Distinguished School, so we're hoping that for the next chunk of time, we'll get that designation again. But it really comes in handy. You can sit outside on a nice day in some of those tents Annalisa was speaking about and be doing your schoolwork outside, or sitting watching a soccer game and doing your schoolwork, or kind of just moving from place to place on campus and able to pop up your computer or your iPad and start doing your work. And obviously it came in very handy when we had to pivot and go completely virtual. Our students didn't miss any classes. We kind of just made it work. And I will put in this little disclaimer: if anything happens to your technology, if there's something wrong with it, as long as you're not dumping water on it or cracking it, our Center for Information and Technology will try to fix it. If they can't fix it, they will send it off to Apple. I'm currently on a loaner because my screen was black last week, so they are taking care of that, and I didn't have to skip a beat. I got the loaner right away and only missed an hour of work. So they want to make sure that you have everything that you need. And we actually last year gave out the equipment to our students at our very first admitted students day, which happened in February. So about 100 students left campus that day with their Apple technology. So that's pretty awesome. That was our plan for the rest of our admitted students days. But when those were canceled due to COVID, our CIT workers worked diligently to ship all of the equipment to all of our incoming students so that they had that for class registration and for all of their summer assignments, and that they were comfortable by the time they got to campus in August for orientation.
So I'll take in from here. Students gaining the experience. So I know we're probably starting to sound like, I feel like I'm repeating myself in the sense of students having opportunities outside of the classroom. And again, it just goes to talk about what we started from in the beginning and our mission and what we're committed to for students coming in. And I know just as important for students, that investment is just important for parents. What am I gonna get out of my 4-year undergraduate experience that's gonna set me different when I am going up against peers looking for job opportunities or going on to postgraduate work? And I really think that this is where we do a phenomenal job with that. So as far as experiences, we offer so many opportunities for students to get hands-on experience, whether it be through internships. So internships are going to be those typical longer, sometimes typically over a semester. Externships are smaller opportunities. They're over a shorter period of time. And what's nice about it is that with us being the 6th oldest school in the country, we have a very long list of alumni, notable alumni, and alumni that are willing to pay it forward, asking, how can I help? What opportunities are available? So when our students are working with the Office of Career and Civic Engagement, more times than not, we're picking up the phone to get our students connected with former Moravian College alum to get those experiences that they need to, one, either solidify that you know you're in the field you want to, or to make sure that you have an opportunity to test waters while you have 4 years to figure it out. There's also opportunities for undergraduate research honors projects. So for that student who is really into research, you have a thesis or an idea that you're really passionate about, we have a lot of opportunity for you to connect, and there's different opportunities. So you can work directly under faculty who are conducting their own research. Our faculty are very active in their industry. So you can have an opportunity to work in a lab with a professor, or working to find sources for a faculty member in their own research. We also have opportunities for students to work on their own research initiatives. So we have a paid opportunity called SOAR. Obviously your project would have to be selected, but this is an opportunity for you to take your research and really focus on it. So while you're dedicating 40 hours into your research project over the summer, the school gives a small stipend so that you'll have some funds to kind of keep you going while you're doing that work. Obviously, another thing is field experience and clinical placement. So we really believe in early exposure. So for example, our education majors, they're starting to get into that environment in their freshman year. Our nursing students are in clinical starting in their sophomore year. So having the opportunity to start getting hands-on as early as we can, we really try our hardest to make that happen. Study abroad is, I think, something that is steadily evolving and growing as students are really interested in the world outside of home, right? So as far as study abroad opportunities, Moravian College offers different opportunities. So we do have like traditional semester study abroad opportunities, faculty-led experiences. We have alternative spring break options. And then something that I think is pretty unique is that we have an experience called May Term. So for students who, let's say you've never been on a plane, or you don't necessarily know where, if you can handle being away from home for a full semester, not being able to get home for a good cooked meal or having mom do laundry, May Term is a great opportunity for you to still be able to study abroad, take a class, but just doing it over a shorter amount of time. So I believe it's about a 2-week experience. And this works for so many students, whether it's, again, you not knowing if you want to be away for a full semester, if you maybe have to work. Some of our students have to, fulfill home responsibilities. Some of our nursing students take advantage of this, athletes, and it just creates for a versatile experience so that none of our students feel that they don't have an opportunity to get involved. Did you want to jump in, Allison? Sorry. Okay, sorry, because I can talk about this all day, but there's always opportunity for student employment. Moravian College not only works with the federal government in work study options that are available through like the FAFSA, but Moravian College even offers our own study or student employment opportunities, which is nice if you are looking for a part-time job on campus, something that's not super stressful, to have some extra pizza money for the weekend, or to kind of pay for anything that you may want to do, or even pay for books if you need stuff like that. And I say all that to say, if you look at that number, I think it makes me proud to represent Moravian College, especially being a liberal arts school. And that number shows that 98.35% of our students from the last graduating class were either employed or on to graduate school within 10 months of graduating. So what that lets me know is that what our students are experiencing, how they're being prepared in and out of the classroom, is setting them up to make sure that they're able to utilize their degree when they graduate. So it lets us know that we have awesome students, we have excellent faculty and staff who are committed to our students, and we're always hearing from the community, from employers in the area asking for Moravian College grads. And it's nice to know that our students are coming and in 4 years, they're able to get into their fields and do what it is that they're passionate about.
This slide's just showing that our students are active, but I think what will show you that our students are active is the next slide, that we have a quick little video to play for you of some of the fun things that our students are able to do on campus.
We used to roll in the neighborhood. Girls thought he was the cutest. Nigga think Bocce ballin'. Can't stop, won't stop, hitting them hot spots every time Bocce came calling. Back then we just had dreams, constant plans and crazy schemes. Wasn't our life like Ben's a dream, endless future fantasies. Fast forward to today, me and the boys, yeah, we still play. Dreams became reality.
So that just shows that our students are doing lots of fun things when they are not in the classroom and when they are not doing their studying, because having fun while you're in college is definitely part of the experience. I know we're cutting it close with time, so I quickly wanted to go over the admissions process. Moravian really makes it as easy as possible. We don't have an application fee. You can find us on the common application, or we have our own Moravian College specific application. If you end up utilizing the Moravian College specific application, we actually waive the essay, so it really doesn't get much easier than that. But I will say that as admissions counselors, we do like to read the essays. What we need in the application is an official high school transcript. We need a letter of recommendation, either from an academic teacher or a guidance counselor or school counselor. We'll read more than one, but we need at least one in the application. We are test optional for all students except for nursing applicants. And obviously this year we know that there's going to be not as many students submitting test scores. So if you want to submit test scores for us, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to, again, unless you're nursing. We have an early decision deadline of November 15th. We also have a nursing priority deadline of November 15th, and our regular decision deadline is March 1st. I am happy to say that we just put through our first wave of acceptances today. We started making some of those fun acceptance phone calls. I will say that one thing about Moravian, and we've stressed it already, but it is that personal feel of having a smaller campus. Us admissions counselors in the admissions office really like to get to know our students. So we are very hands-on with our students throughout the application process and the acceptance process, pretty much until you move into campus. And then even after you move into campus, we still communicate with our students. So we really want to help you through everything, and we want to get to know you through the process, and we want you to get to know us as well.
Yeah, and it's not a requirement, but I'll just throw in there. I know we're short on time, but I want to throw in, to Allison's point, is we want to get to know you. So we love to chat with you. We are welcome to scheduling a meeting with you. whether it's 20 minutes, an hour, however much time you need to connect, because it is always nice to be able to put a name or a face to a name when reviewing applications. So while we don't require an admission interview, I definitely would encourage that you get a chance to chat with your admission counselor, especially now in this virtual world. It's as simple as us sending you a Zoom or Google Meet link and getting you scheduled. So we definitely want to hear from you.
And then financial aid is also a topic on everybody's mind at all times. The FAFSA is now open, opened October 1st, and the FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. So we are already working on those financial aid awards for that first wave of acceptances. Moravian does have a higher price tag. Our tuition, room, and board is $62,500. But as you can see in those numbers below, 99% of our students receive scholarships. And the scholarships go all the way up to $28,000 for merit scholarships, and those are renewable every year. And we also have Moravian institutional need-based financial aid to utilize. We give out Pennsylvania state need-based financial aid as well as federal need-based financial aid. And just as we like to get to know you throughout the admissions process, we're also here to connect you with your financial aid counselors when you get that financial aid award. And there's questions about how you're going to pay for your education. We work with you hand in hand to make sure that we are making the college as affordable for you as possible, and we're helping you figure out ways to finance your education.
Definitely. And Allison, just like you said, like that sticker price, right? It scares students sometimes, $62,500. But again, going back to the fact that 99% of our students are getting scholarship, and the fact that our school is able to help students with over $40 million in just need-based aid. It's, if you find a school that's a good fit, definitely apply and then have those transparent conversations with your admission counselor and financial aid, because we are committed to trying to help students make school as affordable as possible, and we want to do that for as many students as possible. So with that being said, thank you, right? Thank you for joining us. This is perfect timing. If you have any questions, Allison and myself will drop our contact information. You can always email admission@moravian.edu with any questions, but we'll also put our information if you want to connect with us after this.
Thank you, ladies. I just want to thank everyone that are participants. Thank you for joining us. Now, when you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. Also, this was just one of many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions at pacac.org, pacac.org. And in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording, as well as all the other sessions recording at pacac.org. Thank you again, and have a great evening. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you for facilitating.
You bet. Bye.
Bye.